So today we're going to talk about an article that was published in the Daily Mail on May 17th. It was titled, "Exclusive, Keep Your Mouth Shut. Army Veterans Recount How They Were Told to Stay Quiet After Encounters with Alien Craft as Congress Holds First Hearing into UFOs in a Half Century." This story comprises of Sergeant Travis Bingham, E-Force Specialist Vishal Singh, who's not here with us today, and Private First Class Dovel Ingram. And they were all stationed at Observation Post 31 in the Sinai, near the south end of the Israel-Egypt border. This was in the Daily Mail, and it was brought to you by journalist Josh Boswell and Christopher Sharp. Chris, I give you the stage. Wait, before we go anywhere near forward, thank you, Travis Bingham and Dovel Ingram, for your service. I really appreciate it. And Chris.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Thank you for your support.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. Chris, you have the stage.
Thank you so much. And again, Ryan, thank you for having us on. And Travis and Dovel, thank you so much for, participating in this article, bringing it out. I'm not sure if many of the listeners or any of the people watching this know, but when the story came out, it was actually the top headline on the Daily Mail's website. And that is the most read English language news website in the whole world. Right. So this story has really made waves. So thank you. So I think first question is just to provide some background on your mission, which started in 2014. Why were you there in the Sinai Peninsula? And also, if you can just touch on the fact that you guys were also trained observers as well, and what types of aircraft you might be familiar with. And I think that'd be a really good way to start it. And then maybe you can get stuck into how you first spotted the object. So I think maybe Travis, maybe you could start off by just kind of setting the scene of why you were there and being trained observers. And then, Dovel, I think it might be good to hear from you about how you first spotted the object. So over to you, Travis.
Okay. Why we were there? We were deployed there, a part of MFO. It's a peacekeeping mission. And we're just there to specifically observe that the treaty is being adhered to by both sides, Israel and Egypt. So reporting observing is all we do, to observe any military movement or personnel moving through that sector that potentially could be a violation of that peace treaty. And we are trained observers by MOS through the military. We did go through some special training on how to deal with the different type of mission. It's a peace mission, not what your typical deployment is. So that's a little bit of what and why we were there.
Yeah, and if you don't know what MFO means, it's a multinational force of observers. That's what that stands for.
Egypt.
So what did you see that, because I recall from the story that Dovel, you said it scared the shit out of you, and you then called up your sergeant Travis Bingham. So what did you see on that eventful evening?
Well, I wouldn't say it scared the shit out of me. I would say that it just caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to see anything like that night. It's just supposed to be a regular night out on guard duty, and I was actually not at OP31. I was at OP3 Alpha, which is literally the border of Israel and Egypt. It's 15 minutes from Eilat.
Yeah, and so what did you see that made you think it was so exotic and not like a quadcopter or even Elon Musk's Starlink? What was it about it that you looked at and you're like, this is bizarre and nothing I've ever seen before?
Yeah, it started off as a single light, a single bright light. It just popped up out of nowhere. Like, I was sitting in the guard tower watching over the waters, and it was just like a star just appeared, out of thin air, and it was really bright. And for a second, I just looked at it, and about after 2 minutes of watching this bright light, it started to spin around in a circle really fast, like it was orbiting itself, and it started shooting off little flares, but those flares weren't like military flares. Like, I wouldn't know how to describe it really, but
I'd say I wouldn't call them flares at all. I'm good. Just bits of light coming off the smaller and bigger craft. And keep in mind too, then if you were at 3 Alpha, then my perspective on what we've seen is different. I don't remember any, from my perspective, no spinning, right, per se, but multiple figures or whatever. We're watching through multiple different optics, and it wasn't ever very, very clear to me, but it was clear to me on how big, how much bigger the first one is than the little ones that came out of it, and
that first light was just
clear,
like,
how fast they were
huge
moving.
Up there.
Like I told Chris in our interview, they're like almost like you'd see at Radio Shack with the smaller drones, like how quick and fast they move, but nothing of the sort. They clearly not a drone. You know what I mean? Nothing I've ever heard about or been informed of or could watch a video on or read about. Just completely out of this world is the only way I could describe it. So I don't know. I try to avoid using flares because I don't know what the hell it was that was coming off of it.
See, I call it a flare because, how I'm looking at it, it's like when it was spinning around in a circle, these lights were just shooting off. It would almost seem like fireworks, but these lights didn't disappear. They stayed. They stayed in those positions that they were shot out in.
Right on.
How long?
And that's
how long did you see these objects for, and how many objects did you see?
Oh, way too many to count. Way too many to count.
See, from 3-1. Go ahead, Ingram.
Yeah. It was going. It was going so fast. Like that center light was going so fast, and it was shooting off, just like things in every direction. Like it was crazy. It was just way too many to count because it was shooting so fast.
Chris, you have anything to ask?
Yeah, I just wonder if it went through your head in terms of this potentially being hostile, and whether you thought, if it was hostile, could defend yourself.
That was my first thought. My first thought is it's hostile because it was just a bright light. So the military mind thinks someone just shot a flare up, right?
That would explain the whole how you got you came across as scared shitless.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
the excitement.
Yeah, exactly. But nothing about me was scared, But
yeah.
Just to clarify that,
you
were concerned.
But,
let's put it that way. You were concerned.
Yeah. I was just caught off guard. I seen this light, and the first thing in my mind was, what's going on? Like, is this supposed to be happening? So I called down, to Sergeant Cho, who was in the top. And I was like, hey, Sergeant, something's not right up here. And he's like, what you mean? And I was like, I think you should come outside and look at it.
That's almost exactly what happened from 3-1. And I now I can't even exactly recall what soldier brought to my attention then, because I didn't know where I was. I was in the talk, and then Singh would have to come in.
Me and Singh literally.
Hey, come check this out. We're
Yeah,
communicating back and forth.
Me and Singh, we literally like talked about it that same night. Like, I wish I still had the messages, but he was on guard duty and I was on guard duty. And after I got off guard, I texted him and told him about what I was seeing or what I seen. And he said that he's seen the exact same thing, like at 3-1.
So
Wow.
what do you guys think would have happened had you tried to report what you saw? Do you think it would have led to something detrimental for your careers?
No, I honestly don't believe so. I mean, I don't know. There's so many conspiracy theories, you know.
Yeah,
It's hard to just say no, but at the same time,
Would you have gotten a psychological evaluation had you reported what you saw?
no.
No.
No way. It would have been a topic of conversation for a little bit and I explain why is the things that come through that mission that you report up or don't report up. You know, people will give you crap about. You know, like some people might think that, man, I definitely would have reported that up. That's, you know, crazy not to. In this sense, if you reported that up, what could my troop or anything honestly have done with that information in relevancy to OP31 as far as currently? And that's why I think is important about this topic, you know, because currently I don't believe there is probably still no reporting format for the MFO because it's probably not too many people have the chance to have the experience to report such an event up, you know.
Right.
But like I said, to me, it's simple. It's putting that report out there, and half these guys would still not send that report, just to be honest with you.
Chris, what do you think? What do you think about a lack of reporting format for these kind of observations?
I think what you need to do is I think you need to change the culture from the top in terms of the US military. I mean, from my understanding and speaking to both, you know, yourselves, Travis and Davell, from my understanding, you don't think it was, you know, something adversarial in terms of like China or Russia or anyone else.
No.
But let's play devil's advocate that it might be. Let's play devil's advocate. I mean, that's
I like that. But we talked about that when we spoke last time, Chris, and I like where you're going. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I enjoy that because it brings me another perspective to look at my experience through. You know, I didn't take it that way initially, but what if? I love to what if it in a military strategic standpoint or a mindset. You know, you always what if everything to death. You know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I think as well that what you could, let's say, if you can create some kind of craft or weapon that is strange enough, doesn't act by normal conventions, then maybe you just hit that note whereby it's too strange for, you know, your adversary to actually report it. So if the Chinese or Russians can develop something really, really weird, maybe, you know, the Americans won't report it because it doesn't fit within their protocols. Or
I mean, but there's everything, you know, like there's reports for almost everything. You know?
That's what I said. I will get shit for not sending this report. I don't care because I know myself. I know my guys. I know everybody that is going to potentially watch this. You know, and they'll just, you know, even the ones that will give me shit, I feel confident on that. There's 100 reports I could have sent. You know what I mean? Not 100 literally, but you know what I mean? There's a multiple choice. I could have reached in a bag and pulled one out, but it's not the same as what we're talking about today. A specific out of this world report, as crazy as that sounds, right? It's not crazy. It's not crazy.
Yeah, how would you
I could have sent up a report.
To the higher?
Exactly.
How would you?
How do you make it relevant and not paying the ass kind of a report?
All I could say to
make it a legit report.
All I could say to Sancho was, I think something's not right. You know.
So his immediate response was probably, "Let me get off my ass real quick and go see what it is."
Yeah.
I asked you both a question. Firstly, to you, Davell, if let's say you know, a senator or representative is watching this right now, and you wanted to, if you had some advice of how they could kind of like move forward with legislation or anything in terms of actually kind of something that could have helped you on that night be more effective in terms of, you know, reporting it or identifying what it may have been. Is there anything that comes to mind at all? And then I'll ask you that same question, Travis.
I already know the answer. I know what he's going to say. One piece of equipment. I already know.
Yeah. I mean, how, I don't even know how to answer that question, honestly.
What's the one piece of equipment you could have looked at that thing a lot more thoroughly with?
Oh, LRAS or something.
An LRAS, that's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Put that on the site, and you can teach anybody how to use that and get that thing has the capability to do anything you need it to within reason. If you can't view it with that thing, it's definitely not in your AO to report.
What is that?
You know what I mean?
What is that exactly?
It's just a long-range surveillance system, you know. It's a big green box that you can see thermals through, up to, I believe, you can lay these targets up to about 19 clicks away, is the most I've ever heard of. I haven't personally done it, but I've got a lot of experience with an LRAS, and it's the coolest tool a scout uses. It's the coolest tool you could ever use out there in the MFO for sure.
So why did they give you those? I mean, you guys were on the, you were in a observation post. So why did they not provide you with that equipment?
We had all the equipment we needed to conduct our mission. Just for this specific
our job.
For this specific one to answer, I knew what he was going to say. That's why I was like, you know what? I know everyone's on tip of every observer's tongue is LRAD. You know, it's just the easiest to put in action. And, you know, easiest to operate, and it has the longest capability. Like, it's the only thing I can imagine right away of what I didn't have that night that my unit could have had for me. It's the only gut punch I could give my unit, you know what I'm saying?
But honestly, there is no, like, there's no quick fix to this. Like, how are you supposed
I would have tried to laze it.
How are you supposed to be prepared for something like that, though? You know, your first thought is going to be, let me get the LRAS. You know, your first thought is going to be, let me get the LRAS. It's, what is that?
Yeah.
Is that normal? You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when it happens so fast like that. Like, that ball went up in the sky. Like, and then within minutes, it was spinning and shooting out little sparks or something. I don't know. And those
I wanted to
dots
touch back on that, Ingram, because from my perspective on 3-1, I seen very similar, right? I know we've talked about this years ago and when it happened and all this, but it's been years, right? I have that same memory of I didn't have the same memory of too many to count. Mine was specific, like no more than 8. I think I counted at one time. 1 being the main one, and then whatever I could easily identify as like that's another one, that's another one. And then I continued to lose sight of them, and almost like a spirally motion. But I never seen that the spiral, like per se, like how you described. Yeah. But I did see this rotation between all the objects, which made me think they were either scuffling or having a fucking, you know, fight in the sky. But I just wanted to come back on that, you know, because it's it's just from where you were to where I was. I guess I have no doubt we're seeing the same thing for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure,
cool.
For sure.
But I can definitely, I want to touch back on that with you, with Ryan and Chris here on well, the difference between yours seeing multiple objects and mine being down to one main one. I thought I called it the main one because it was big.
You were behind mountains though.
Who that?
I was in the fishbowl. Remember? Yeah.
Gotcha.
I got a question for you guys. According to the article, it said that, I don't know which one of you, but it said that one of you radioed an outpost or multiple outposts at least 200 miles away, and they said they could see the lights as well. Is that true?
I wasn't aware that there was capability. I know from my OP, you had no chance of getting radio comms, 200 miles away, and nor would you. I can't see the logic for having to. The way we communicated at 3-1 was just like how Ingram did, the relay. I'd relay almost everything because the only time my comms work, because the mountains he was speaking of is when they get a certain distance through there and you know, they're close enough. Otherwise than that, you just get random traffic. You know, it's random reasons why you have comms there. And that may have changed. Like I said, this was years ago.
Hey, Chris,
But it makes sense to me hearing that relay is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but Sarn Show did call to one of Killer's squads.
Go ahead, Chris.
I can't remember who, but
and from my understanding as well, I mean, what were the Israelis and Egyptian kind of government representatives called as well to identify what it might have been?
I have no idea.
I'm sorry.
Were the Israelis and Egyptians contacted in terms of?
Yeah. Because we thought actually that maybe it was a training exercise for one of them, so we had the Colombian major, look into that.
And they denied it was anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. And from my understanding as well, just to clarify, from my understanding and what we wrote as well, it was seen by other bases. Is that correct? Just to check on that.
I have no idea either. I was telling you, Chris, I found this so interesting too because it was something that I never thought I'd talk about again. Outside of with Ingram and
right
and Singh. Honestly, I talked to a few other soldiers that were on my site that were for sure right there, and they confirmed like, oh yeah, sorry, we seen that, but just years ago. Like they stressed it years ago. Like I don't even want to try to put down that experience again because it was irrelevant to they never probably talked about it again outside of amongst us. And when I was telling you the craziness about that is smoke pit topic conversation on deployment is there's no left and right limit, man. You're gonna have it all.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just a strange topic, I guess. But nobody seemed to want to talk about it as far as didn't give it as much. I don't know. I think it's too cool to not talk about and share my little portion of it. It's easy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think this is a good opportunity to remind the audience of something, and also to segue into what happened afterwards, and to clarify some things as well. So firstly, what I would say to the audience here is that in terms of getting a good story, in terms of UAP, I mean, especially if something happened years ago, firstly, not everyone's memory is going to be perfect. We don't, most people, 99.9% of us, do not have perfect memories. And also, accounts will differ as well. If you come across a story where everyone has the same version of events, that tells you as a journalist straight away that maybe it's coordinated. But it's the fact that, Travis, Devel, and Vishal, who's not with us currently, had, so many different kind of accounts of what happened in terms of how they describe the UAP itself, and just kind of like what they witnessed and what they remember from happening. So I think that's a good opportunity to remind people of that. And saying that, so the article, the headline, blame the editors, suggested that thought that you were persecuted, but from my understanding, that was just Vishal who claimed that he felt persecuted and claimed that he was told by someone else to shut his mouth about what happened. Did you want to speak further about that, Travis?
Oh yeah, that's one of the big reasons I wanted to do this is to clear my unit's name on that, man, because anybody that served with me or knows me, good luck keeping me quiet on anything. If I want to talk about it, I'm gonna talk about it. Like I told you, Chris, I almost fought a good friend of mine over if whales can talk to each other from North Pole, South Pole. You know what I mean? You're not keeping me quiet. I'm gonna speak my opinion on it. And so I found it, even more baffling than the observation we all shared that someone could be persecuted right under my nose. I'm just not, and so I asked him several times, several different ways, like, was there something you're not telling me about our unit? And he said, no, none of my, and then I left it at that. And I know and I trust him. So if he has any persecutions, I just wanted to hop on here and say, it wasn't with Long Knife, You know what I mean? And I put my name and reputation on it. If that got under my nose, I would be embarrassed. And after asking him and him saying no, I feel confident that nothing got under my nose. And my unit may be full of flaws at the time, but this isn't one of them, man.
Sure. No, that's a really good point. And to clarify that, sometime following the mission, and when Sting claims that he was told that, he had to appeal to the Inspector General for the Army because they were going to try and discharge him in terms of some mental health issues, which he was able to disprove and successfully overturned that attempted discharge.
That's probably what he's talking about. Didn't happen while I was with him or while he was in Long Knife, per se, I guess. Because I was never aware he faced any of that his whole Army career. I never knew that till now, or speaking with him and throughout all this, Chris. And, I don't know how it actually got interpreted to where it was Long Knife that happened. But because like I said, from talking, me and you talking, I found it comical the whole time. Like, no way, man, no way. I just refuse to believe that you're never going to get that over on this group of guys. We were too loud. We're too, and again, would caveat into why didn't you send it up? And I feel like I've spoke my piece on that, on why I didn't send it up. And that's for me to forever take to the grave, I guess. As a scout, not sending a fucking report up is brutal.
Absolutely. And another question I had is, from my understanding, please feel, that you can put me on this, but is it of both your opinions that what you saw tonight was alien, let's say? And also, could you tell us a bit about how that has kind of may have changed your perspective, let's say, on the world as we know it, or as you knew it before?
I'm going to throw mine out there real quick, E. I'm going to say that I really think it was out of this world because to my knowledge, and I've seen a lot of stuff, I feel like I would be able to be a good judge and trust my gut on this one and say it wasn't from this world. It's just too much. What I've seen was too much to fathom. And if it is from this world, I can't wait to see it in action. That's all. How
about you, Devell?
All right. Honestly, I do think it was not of this world. It's just with what I've seen from my area, with my own eyes, and from the facts of knowing the Israeli or Egyptian police or any type of law enforcement knew anything about it.
That pin.
It was just, I don't know, baffling, I guess. Wish I knew how to send something like that up, because I think everybody should be made aware of that. That would have been cool for everybody to see.
And what do you both feel about what's going on at the moment? Obviously, we had a public hearing recently in Congress about unidentified aerial phenomena, and we have more possibly on the horizon as well, as the Senate and House increasingly take this issue seriously. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I think that's the probably the reason I'm doing this podcast, man, is I wouldn't mind at all being involved in some sort of if you wanted to pick my brain on anything on how you could format a report or what would make you send that report and not feel bad about it, whatever it may be, I could give you a wholehearted, honest answer on it, a first-hand account, and if that's valuable, cool. If not, cool, man. At least I got a chance to get on here and speak my story on you know, how cool and strange it was, and I love the fact that they're talking about it now, and potentially we'll get to know a little more, you know, and that's fascinating to me because of this account. So I'm ready to see what happens in the future. If anybody else wants to pick my brain strategically, you know, honestly, I don't feel like I could have a whole lot of value getting on 100 podcasts saying the same story over and over, you know, but I will, you know, I don't know. What I always say is I'll nerd out on this subject till it's done, because I have firsthand experience on it, you know, and people that are gonna watch this that know me are gonna be like, "What the hell?" Whatever, man. Whatever. It is what it is, and I look forward to seeing what comes of it. And I appreciate it, Chris, for sure, and Ryan, man. You know, I appreciate the platform to let me, like I say, speak my small little portion.
Thank you. No, pleasure is ours. Ryan, did you have any questions still?
I don't have any questions. I'm just really happy that Travis and Dovell have spoken their mind on an issue that for a very long time has been stigmatized. And it's a good, you know, they're courageous for coming out and speaking soberly about their experience. I think that's great. And I think it's very appreciated.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up. I'm going to give each of you a couple minutes or whatever to say what you have to say. So Chris, what's on your mind? Let's give you the stage right now.
I mean,
and if you have any links, share them as well. Go ahead, Chris.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm full of gratitude, you know, to you, Ryan, and you, Dovell, and Travis as well. And I would say that you guys, Travis and Dovell, you've given, in my opinion, others the courage to come forward about this. I know you guys don't probably feel that there's such a stigma around this topic, but in terms of people in the US Air Force especially, there is a stigma, and they do face possible consequences, let's say, from my understanding, of actually reporting such incidents. So the fact you guys are going on this podcast right now and you're speaking so openly about it, so frank, and, you know, from my understanding, and anyhow, post story, you know, after it's released, you guys have suffered no consequences at all for coming out from this story.
Definitely not.
And so
A little bit of hazing from my friends, but that's my military friends, but that's about it.
Absolutely.
Honestly, those same people hazing me, I would ask, hey, what's your input? What's your strategic viewpoint on what I could, if I get the pleasure of talking to anybody about a report format, I would pick their brains as well. You know, shit, I have nothing but great people I keep in contact with from the service. And so a lot of them are still serving, you know what I mean? That's why I felt it. This is way outside my comfort zone, just so you know, hopping on something like this. I'm not tech savvy. This ain't my area, but I just felt the need. Like I talked to you, Chris, about man, I don't know. I feel like that headline might have got somebody investigated unnecessarily, and I would like to clarify that. And also, I do believe in what I saw. You know, like I know what I saw. I just don't know if it's of this world or not. You know, and I'm curious. And you spoke about the Air Force and Navy getting a lot of scrutiny. Man, I you know, I wish I could have a voice for them, you know, on that one, because, you know, it's just, that's unfortunate. And then when you know, if you get silenced like that, I don't know, man, it's hard for me to fathom some silence in me, honestly. Especially when if I had video like some of these ones I've seen since you've started talking with Chris, just to give you a little perspective, Ryan, is man, I've seen so many videos that are so damn cool, and it's like, come on, tell me what that is. Just tell me. Some of them have been confirmed military drones, and I'm thinking, yep, that makes sense, because that shit was real slow. You know what I mean? And when the videos I see, that shit was slow. Some of the videos I see, I'm just like, that's fucking crazy. I wish I could have videoed what I seen, but that was the furthest thing from my mind at the point. And I'll tell you, if you've ever taken a picture of the night sky, it's never as you envision it, I guess, unless you have a badass camera. But I'm the type of person, I guess I kind of live in the moment, and I think I'll take note of this, and I think I'm going to try to swing my camera up a little more, just see what I catch. If I see some crazy stuff, man, because this is out of this world alone, being in this conversation with you fellas.
What's going on, Abby?
About some stuff I seen years ago on my last deployment, you know?
I was just about to ask, hey, Doval, I was about to ask him what his final words are, but I think he's, anyways, I'll go to Chris. Hey, Chris, what do you want to, what links or places on the internet do you want to share with the audience?
Yes, of course. So obviously my website is www.liberationtimes.com. That's where you can find all my stories. We've also got Twitter as well, which is Twitter, and the hashtag is Liberation Times, no spaces between. But obviously now as well, I'm also reporting in the Daily Mail. So please also visit, www.dailymail.co.uk, and hopefully both Josh and I are going to have some other breaking news coming out as well, and more exclusive. So, watch this space. I'm really, really keen to work with Travis in the future as well. I mean, especially in terms of, like articles with plenty of meat, basically, and plenty of good stuff to get into in terms of reporting protocols and stuff like that. And, I'm really, really keen to do that in the future as well. Just stuff that, people look at practically and say, that is something you can do, that is a solution. So yeah, there's lots of good things coming forward, and just Ryan, thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And Doval, any last words, Doval, before we wrap this up?
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me on here and letting me share my side of the experience. It was definitely something that I think everyone should experience at least one time in their life. Rather it scares the shit out of you, or you're just
excited. As hell.
Yeah, you're just excited and speechless at what you've seen, and I just believe everybody should experience something like that. And as far as reports in the military, how can you report something like that? How do you send that up the ladder? And that's something that needs to be figured out.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Travis. Thank you so much, Doval. Thank you so much, Christopher. That's a wrap, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. And please do not forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You could become a patron. You could become a YouTube member. You could even just give me a one-time donation. All of those possibilities are in the description below. Or you could slap a like on this bad boy, and I will appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.